Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. First of all, let me wish you a Happy New Year. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other video that I have posted in the past. It is easier for me to answer your question more fully through email, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to cook a fried rice, which I call it Cantonese fried rice, because it uses two ingredients which is very traditional in Cantonese cooking. The first ingredient is a Chinese sausage, frequently known as lap cheong. Now this sausage is designed for cooking as a condiment, and you use a small amount of it. And what I do is that I'm going to cut them up into thin slices. This sausage has very unique flavor, and it can be used in many different type of cooking situations. But for fried rice, it is very nice to have this sausage, and what I do is that I cut them up into thin slices, and this will allow them to use many as a condiment to flavor the fried rice rather than use as a main ingredients in the fried rice. And I also use another ingredient which refer to as a salted spicy radish. This radish has a very nice salted flavor, but it also slightly spicy. And in order to have it fit well with the fried rice, I'm going to cut them up into small chunks. Again, you don't need to use very much. This is used further like the lap cheong as a condiment to provide flavor for the fried rice. And the third ingredients I'm going to use in this fried rice will provide some texture as well as a flavor. Now this I'm going to use is cauliflower. Now this is the stem of the cauliflower, and most of the time people will throw the stem away. But the stem turned out to be excellent for making fried rice, particularly when you chop them up into small pieces. So they will cook quickly, and this adds really great flavor. And I enjoyed that very much. In many ways, you can look at this cauliflower. It's like sometimes people call it cauliflower rice. It basically serves the same purpose. This will make the dish nutritionally more balanced. Okay, now let's go into the kitchen and start cooking. I'm going to start out with 2 tablespoons of canola oil initially in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I'm going to season the wok using my spa seasoning method. The method is very simple. You heat up the oil until it starts to smoke gently, and then you let it to smoke for another 15 seconds. Then you are ready to cook. Now to cook this dish, I'm going to cook the egg directly in the wok first, and then I'm going to add the rice after that. I'm going to use eggs that I'm going to not beaten it up. And the reason for that is that this will allow the egg yolk and the egg white to cook separately, and the end result is that it gives the egg much greater flavor. Now you can use as many eggs as you would like. If you're going to have a large fried rice and you want to make the fried rice as the main dish, then I would probably use more eggs. Otherwise you can use less. These eggs are given to me by our neighbor, and his grandson actually raised chickens, and so these eggs come from his chickens. Now, what I'm do is that I'm going to scramble the egg directly as it is, without beating it up. And this, again, like I said, it provides a much better texture and flavor for the egg. After I scramble the egg, the next step is that I'm ready to cook the rice. But before I add the rice, I'm going to add a bit more oil. I'm going to use 3 cups of cooked rice. These are jasmine rice. I store the rice in the refrigerator for about, in this case, for 72 hours. So the rice is quite hot. And as you can see that in order to break up the rice, I use a tool frequently referred to as hamburger meat masher. It's a great tool for breaking up, in this case, rice. Originally, it is designed to break up hamburger meat, like in the case when you make a chili or when you make spaghetti sauce. I used to pick up the fried rice using a wok spatula. As I quickly discovered that this is a far more efficient way to break up the rice. When I use the wok spatula, I tend to spill rice all over the place. But this is truly a almost must-have in the case of making fried rice. You can break up the rice into much smaller grains because you do want to have the fried rice, the kernel as distinct as possible, because this will allow the rice to be fried properly. And next, I add some minced ginger to the fried rice. My wife loves ginger. And actually, ginger fried rice provides some really interesting flavor. I used to not like ginger as much, but as my wife continued to encourage me to use ginger, I really come to like ginger a great deal. The cauliflower is the next to add to the fried rice, and this is followed by the addition of the lap cheong, or the Chinese sausage that I have cut up. This is followed by the salted spicy radish. Now everything that I need is already in the wok. I use my wok spatula to mix everything up, and this actually is the time when the lap cheong is being cooked. The reason that you need to cook this a little bit longer because the lap cheong is raw, so it requires for it to be cooked, but it doesn't have to cook for a long time. And by continue to stir them, it is really important to make sure to prevent the rice from burning and stick to the bottom of the wok. At this point, you need to be careful in adjusting the heat. The rate of stirring is directly proportional to the amount of heat that you apply to the wok. Now, if you can stir very fast, then you can have high heat. Otherwise, you need to lower the heat, because otherwise the rice is going to stuck and burn to the bottom surface of the wok, and you certainly do not want that to take place. I did a quick taste test. The rice already has a lot of flavor with all the ingredients that are in there, but I decided I'm going to add some of my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix is relatively mild. Its intention is to enhance the natural flavor of the food ingredients by adding the umami flavor molecules to the dish. The best approach when it comes to flavor a dish is to use the natural food ingredients to control the flavor of the dish, because ultimately the natural ingredients is what make a dish flavorful. And you can experiment in the combination of different kind of natural ingredients. So selecting the right ingredients to create a dish is very important. In this dish, all the ingredients I chosen are designed in such a way to complement each other. So when you eat it, you will experience a complex set of flavor. And last but not the least, I'm going to add some king oyster mushroom, which I have on hand. I already cut the mushroom into small pieces. King oyster mushroom is very different from other type of mushroom because it has a much firmer texture, almost a meat-like texture. Depending how you want the texture of the mushroom is. If you want it to be more natural or more firm texture, you add it later during the cooking process. But if you want to have a softer texture, then you can add the mushroom earlier. The dish is almost done. Now this dish takes a little bit longer time to cook, mainly because of the different ingredients that are present. And some of the ingredients take a little bit longer time to cook as compared to the others. Like in this case, such as the lap cheong, you want to make sure that it's cooked long enough because the lap cheong is raw, and so the cooking it to the right texture as well as doneness is really important. The total cook time of this dish is probably about 10 minutes. It's longer than most other type of fried rice dish. And the last ingredients I'm going to add is some scallion, which I have chopped up earlier. Scallion is always a great vegetable to add to any type of dish because you can eat them raw, but they provide a great onion flavor. And that's the reason I often use scallion rather than using onion if I want to have an onion flavor. By adding the scallion way toward the end, it will have the maximum impact on the dish. Now this dish is a dish that I designed all the ingredients to create the type of flavor that I want. When it comes to flavor chasing, which is an important aspect of the fast cooking system, learning how to use ingredients to create the flavor is going to be the most important and sophisticated way to create the flavor that you want. And last but not the least, I'm going to add some fresh scallions, which I've cut into strip. Again, this is designed to give the dish the onion flavor that is balanced and refreshing. The creation of different type of flavor is essential to make your home cooking both enjoyable as well as sustainable. Last but not least, I'm going to garnish the dish with a small amount of oyster sauce. Again, I add the oyster sauce toward the end. In this case, I want to provide a visual appeal to the dish. So the dish is done. This is one of those unique dishes that I have not cooked in the past, but because of my understanding of the role of the sausages and the sort of spicy radish, it gives it the flavor that I want. So home cooking is more important to be flexible as well as creative. This is what makes home cooking fun. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.